Woods, the open waters, from the rocky trails to the snowy tracks. If that happens outdoors, we're talking about it. From fishing to hiking to hunting to trail riding, we cover it all. Brought to you by Petrick Service Station, Holden Sporting Goods, Black River Express, Low Hardware, the Levis Drum Rail Riders, the Elk Ride and Gun Club, Triplo County Economic Development and Tourism, and the Associated Conservation Clubs with Triplo County. So tighten up your boots, check your hook, and fire up the engine. The adventure starts now.
That is right, everybody. The adventure does start now. You're listening to Coffee with Brian, and we are getting outdoors. I got a special guest in the studio, Ryan Lowery from the DNR. Good morning, Ryan. How are you?
Good morning. I'm not too shabby at all.
Yeah.
Enjoying the change of the seasons, and hopefully at warm up. I heard you talk about that weather change here on Monday. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, 78 and thunderstorms, of course.
hey, I'll take 78 all day. Maybe I can get around to golfing or a little bit of fishing here. Maybe work a split shift or take the day off just so I can enjoy it.
Yep. And speaking of the day off, you have the day off today, and you came in to visit us too, so that's pretty awesome.
No, definitely make a chance to get down here, get on air, and talk with our listeners out there. I'm happy to do it. Happy to be down here.
Yeah. And we might as well start off. We did have an opening of trout season as of April 4th, so that is early this year?
Yeah,
okay.
It's about a month early. That's kind of one of the bigger changes, I'd say, in terms of rules and regulations for the area. And that just came about of, spring hearings and people who voice their opinions on wanting to see a little bit of change with that trout season. So it's cool. It's providing folks with another opportunity, another opener, if you will, kind of a fun thing to look forward to. Everybody likes their openers. So it's also providing those trout fishermen who are out there looking to harvest, an extra month of dodging those sweet burning nettles and insects, because that month of April, you're not getting bugged at all, really, just like the month of May. So it's going to be 2 comfortable months of trout fishing season before that burning nettle gets shoulder high and starts whipping you all over as you're trying to get your way to your spots. So, I think it's good. It also aligns with a lot of our other Midwestern states and their trout fishing openers too. So, as long as we see some positivity out of it, I think it's a good thing. So,
yep. And we have been talking about fishing here. Ice fishing for us here. We just finished up our ice fishing circuit and stuff. But there is hunting opportunities right now. Turkey is still going on. Am I correct? And some small game.
It shouldn't be going on.
Shouldn't be? Okay.
It's going to be kicking off here this weekend.
Kicking off. Okay, yeah, that's this weekend.
Yeah, it's this weekend starts the turkey hunting season with the youth season. So that's a pretty sweet opportunity we got out there for all of our kiddos. It's here. I got to scroll down to my little bullet points. It looks like it's going to be a good weekend. Sunday might be a little rough for some of the youth out there, with potential rain, but it's going to be pretty good. So it's April 11th through the 12th. For everybody who's 15 years old and younger. Whoever hasn't passed hunter safety definitely has to have that mentor license, and then just be sure to abide by all those mentor rules and regulations. With being in arm's reach, and so all the hunters that may have hunter safety, if they're before they're 12, they still have to be within arm's reach and accompanied by an adult or a hunter that's 18 or older. So a few things with that whole mentorship style of hunting. So you got to be within arm's reach. In other situations, not turkey hunting, both the mentor and mentee could have firearms, but while turkey hunting, you can't hunt other critters during this youth season, even though coyote and other things like that are open, because when you're in possession of turkey calls, you are turkey hunting. So say if an adult were to be out mentoring a youth right now and they want to bring their own shotgun in case a coyote comes in, technically they'd be turkey hunting because they got calls and they're out seeking a turkey for that youth hunter. But because it's a youth season, they shouldn't be having a gun. So there's a little bit of a caveat here for the ability for both the mentor and mentee to have firearms during this specific season. But other seasons, like deer seasons, both the mentee and mentor can have firearms, because say in the youth deer season, small game is open, you know, and they can still harvest that. And there is not that law that says when you're in possession of calls for a specific animal, you have to be hunting that animal. It's only for turkey. So, yeah, it's a little bit of a caveat. I just want to make it clear, because I know a lot of folks out there like to help out their predator population while they're out there turkey hunting, and you just got to keep that in mind, that when you're turkey hunting with youth, you are turkey hunting, so you better have a license, be within your season, or not carry a firearm.
All right, that's great. And speaking about firearms, we might as well jump to the safety part of it that we should talk about.
Yeah. Definitely want to preach some safety. Wouldn't be in my position if I didn't focus on safety. So always keep in mind those four rules of Tab K. For firearm safety rules. So treat every gun as if it's loaded. Always point your gun in a safe direction. Be sure of your target, what's beyond it, and keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to make the decision to shoot. And because of that, we're in a season where these birds kind of pop out of nowhere. I mean, you might be hearing them do some shot gobbling a little bit coming in. I mean, you know, everybody's getting jacked up who's a turkey hunter, and you got a bird coming in. And being excited, having that little bit of adrenaline going, especially with their youth hunters, you're going to get a little jumpy.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about buck fever. Well, you get turkey fever too. I mean, it's exciting having that bird come in, especially if you get to see them strutting. You're focusing on one bird, thinking they're coming from one way or another, and you have one sneak up on you. Well, then you need to pivot, change your direction of shooting, and jumpy youth, you might be making some poor decisions. You know, that's why you got to remain within arm's reach, help them along in that situation, and don't ever rush a shot. I mean, there's plenty of birds out there. You can reassess. You can move. You know, if a bird gets spooked off, you can run and gun after them. There's other ways of successfully completing that hunt. But rushing a shot, spinning around when you got a partner behind you, that's how some folks have caught some pellets. And we got a lot of folks in this area out there hunting their own private property. They might have permission from landowners. They might be hunting somebody's private land with permission that they obtained from a few years ago, so folks might not know exactly where everybody is, because you know, a lot of us hunters do a lot of things last minute, run out when they got the right opportunity for weather, right conditions, they got off work, and then they're just kind of scooting out into an area. So even though you're on private land, you might not know where your neighbor is, or you might not know who your neighbor is allowed on that property too. So just be sure of your shot and what's beyond it, and don't rush any shots. And for those folks that are out there, maybe foraging, checking for mushrooms, doing other things, shed hunting, like we like to do this time of year. Folks, I just can't stress enough, don't be wearing any of those blue or red colors, black, anything that could be mistaken for the game people are pursuing this time of year. Yeah. It's some things that have led to some incidences in the area, and we do have some folks that have been shot while turkey hunting in this region, even in this listener base. So it can happen. Don't think it can happen in odd, very rare situations, which kind of is, but it's happened to folks in the area.
Yep, accidents do happen, and you're right. You know, take a look at what is behind your target before you go, and take a step back just to breathe and think for a second before you take that shot.
Yep, and that's why we got these mentors out there for these youth, because that's a hard thing to do when you're a young hunter. I remember those days, and it's you're jacked for that situation. You're all excited. You're definitely tunnel vision on that bird. You know, if somebody could get into your brain and see what you see at that point, I'm pretty sure it's all black but that bird. You definitely got to be that extra set of eyes, that calm demeanor, and letting them know, you know, what they should and shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, yeah. And part of that safety too is, you know, transportation with your firearms. You got some tips for that too?
Yeah. So, you know, excluding handguns, firearms must be unloaded when they're in moving or stationary vehicles. This includes ATVs, UTVs. It really doesn't matter where you are, private property, public property. Just be sure to have all those firearms unloaded. Includes boats as well. just make everything safe. Crossbows too. Just get that bolt removed. Pretty rare, but I mean they do list it in statute. But arrows can't be knocked in bows. That's just kind of I don't know who would ever drive around with a knocked arrow and a bow. It's just unsafe all around with a big old, especially this season, turkey broadhead on the end of that thing if somebody's looking to take a bird with a bow. But just make sure everything's safe. And we got expensive equipment out there. You want to keep your equipment nice anyways. Yeah. So I still know a ton of people that put stuff in carrying cases, although not required for motor vehicles.
Okay.
Just be safe, guys. I can't stress it enough. If anything, even if it might not be a rule or regulation, if it seems a little unsafe, make that judgment call, err on the side of caution, keep your equipment nice and people safe. So,
yeah, that is great. And you got some spring hearings coming up, so you want to talk about that a bit?
Yeah, definitely. I want to pitch that out. So one of the reasons we have this adjustment to the trout season is that it's been pitched in our spring hearings across the state, and it got favoritism through plenty of different counties. I think overall, I can't think of an area that it was not favored to adjust the trout season opener. So with that support, stuff gets kicked up through the chain and approved by the Natural Resource Board and inevitably gets enacted and helps change our seasons to better fit our recreating public. And this is what folks wanted, so it happened. I mean, although it be a longer process, this is kind of how everything gets pitched off and started. There's several different questions that are always proposed for the spring hearings, stuff that might be moving up the chain to law and regulation change. But there's also an opportunity for local folks to pitch their own ideas. Yeah. And those submissions are kind of crucial to hear our area public and what they're feeling, what they're thinking, and it'll get those in power to make changes to see what the public wants and push for some of those if there's enough support. So great things happen from it. Some odd things have happened with spring hearings in the past, but those usually get ironed out as we ask for more support in future spring hearings when stuff gets proposed. But they're a good opportunity for folks to get out there in their respective counties and get their voices heard, listen to what your local DNR staff have to say about what's happening, what's new, the changes, and it just gives you an opportunity to see and learn the process and know who your local folks are, whether it's your wildlife biologist, your forester, or your conservation warden. So, I got some locations here. These are all taking place this next Monday. Okay. I believe it's the 13th. It's the 13th. Just looked at my calendar. 13th in the evening. They'll have all the times listed online, but for the area, the spring hearing for Trempealeau is going to be at the Arcadia High School, room 219. For Black River Falls, it's going to be at the middle school, in the small group instruction room, SGI. Regardless of where this is, I don't know these places all that well. There's going to be signs. I know last year for Eau Claire, we had folks run through the maze that was Memorial at the time under construction to find the room that we're having our spring hearings in. So, and last for our listener area here, we got Alma High School is where it's going to be at for Buffalo County in the small gym / auditorium. So get out to your spring hearings, get your voices heard, see what your local DNR folks have to say about the area, and come out and meet us. It's usually a good time, and you get to see kind of what we're up to for the year.
Yep. Are they having them all at the same time, or?
Yep. Yeah. So they're all at the same time, all on the 13th. And for folks that might not be able to make those, you can always jump online, and there'll be points to weigh in and pitch stuff online. But just search DNR Spring Hearings on our internet page, and you'll get all the information for your local stuff, or maybe some areas that you are more familiar with. If you've got a cabin up north, so on and so forth, you can kind of see what what's going on for that area. Also, all the questions and topics will be listed online. So I mean, so you can see them there too, and just kind of read up and learn about some of the things you want to pay attention to. So.
Yeah, it's such a valuable thing, I think, for, you get from people, you hear them complain a lot about things and stuff. And it's like, if the people who are making the rules don't hear you as they're making the rules, it's hard for them to implement that in with those rules too. So it is good to get out, get active, and, just get to meet people like you or local people who are working in this industry. So. Yeah,
100%. We're always willing to listen. It helps us kind of, maybe show focus on something we might not be, paying too much attention to or realizing is a problem. I mean, we have to hear about something we got to hear the pros and cons before we can adjust what we're doing with anything. And what that old adjective of the squeaky wheel's the loudest. I mean, that's usually what it is. It's usually somebody who has a complaint about something that we hear about the most. And if something's going well, we usually don't hear much about it at all. So, so it's always good to hear the pros and cons, the successes and maybe failures of certain things that are implemented on the landscape, and we can adjust accordingly. I mean, I can think of recent years how we've had some changes to our DNR structures, our unit structures, especially with the north, and the public input that we've had for our deer zoning map for the north and how that needed to be adjusted, and rightfully so, because I think of my old hunting party back when I could go up to deer camp of Burnett County. I was in the northern part of Burnett County, which is primarily forest, public land, forest. Southern Burnett County's got a lot of ag. The two completely different landscapes. Should they be treated the same in terms of antlerless quota and how those areas should be managed? Well, it doesn't really make sense, because they're completely different landscapes, and that's kind of how we've adjusted things in the north, because what we had changed things to really wasn't working 100%. So we wanted, the public wanted to see some change. We made that change, and hopefully it's been a little better. For my hunting party, they've really seen no change. It's kind of status quo, but I'm sure for a lot of folks up there this last season with that structure change, it made a difference. Yeah, it might be helping them out. So
yeah, that's great. And we did start off talking about hunting and fishing, but just in case I missed anything, we should probably talk a little bit about feeding. And because you hear people talk about that all the time. They joke about it. I put corn out for the squirrels. If I see a deer there, I'm going to shoot them. So let's talk a little about feeding animals.
The feeding and baiting. I don't know if I were to pick anything that's job security for me in the area, especially in the fall, it's baiting and feeding. People just can't get off that bandwagon. And it's so unique because the majority of the folks that I talk to that do that baiting and feeding, I mean, sure, there are some younger hunters and users that do that, but it's a lot of our older hunting community out there that is still doing it. And man, when I grew up in the 90s, early 2000s, nobody baited. It wasn't a thing. I don't know when that switch flipped, that people felt like they had to bait and feed the heck out of primarily deer. But I mean, we got folks out there throwing black oil sunflower seed for turkeys to improve their odds to try and get turkeys. It's like, I don't know. Folks just want to leg up. Maybe it's because they want to brag. They just want an easy hunt. But do things right. Do things legally. I mean, you don't need to break the law just to have a chance at harvesting what you want.
So there's baiting.
It's just not fair. No baiting, no baiting, no feeding. Statewide, you can't bait or feed turkeys.
And it is a health thing too, right? I mean, that's if you got these animals all going to the spot, you can contract diseases there and spread a lot faster. Yep,
it's rooted in herd and population safety. If you think of it this way, you go up to a buffet that doesn't have a sneeze guard, and if you're the last in line for lunch buffet and everybody's been smashing that buffet line for a few hours before you get there, you think you're going to be healthy coming away from that buffet? Nah, and that's how it is for these bait and feed piles. You've just got an area that if a sick animal feeds there, it's just a reinfection site. And specifically for deer, latest science has shown that that CWD prion subsists in the soil where deer have been feeding for up to 60 years or more.
Oh, wow.
So you can have an infectious site that it's persisting out there, and that's just horrible to have and think about on landscape. I mean, who wants to have a sick population? Who wants to jeopardize the fact of growing a trophy in your area just because you're trying to get a leg up on your neighbor, or you just want that deer to come in at the right specific time that you're tossing bait out there to have that slight chance of a better opportunity to harvest an animal. We just don't need that greed on the landscape. We don't need that greed interfering with our populations out there. So do things right. Encourage natural feeding, browse, put out food plots. When you have... When you take time to manage deer that way with appropriate feeding and measures with natural grazing, it's just kind of good all around. Those food plots, they benefit a ton of critters, not just deer, and it's more of a fair chase aspect there. You're not just tossing a good corn pile out there to reel in some critters,
and you're spreading that food in a larger area than just a concentrated right there.
Yep. And then if you don't have your own land to hunt and you're hunting public property, just gear your hunt a little different, kind of learn the landscape a little bit more and increase your opportunities. Maybe hunting off of a food source, whether it's a nice acorn tree that's dumped a pile of acorns out there, or some browse that they might be hitting off of a cornfield. Everybody that likes to bait and throw out feed, they always like to point out that, well, hey, what about a farmer's cornfield, so on and so forth. Well, one thing that we can't do in Wisconsin, like many other things, but one thing above all, Wisconsin's an ag state. So normal agricultural practice, well, nobody's ever going to mess with that and somebody's ability to harvest and plant their own crops. So as long as they're abiding by normal agricultural practices, you can do it. Now, if you're somebody that's throwing sweet corn out there in your backyard to have yourself a little pick and go for the fall, and then you're mowing it down with a brush hog, well, that's not normal agricultural practice. You basically created yourself a old big bait pile right there, because no farmer, nobody looking to plant and harvest crops is just going to sit and mow it down during the hunting season conveniently in front of a stand. Trust me, we've got folks out there that have done it. Same with pumpkins. Nobody grows a bunch of pumpkins to conveniently throw them right back out in front of their stand where they weren't grown and then smash them all up for deer to come to. So normal agricultural practice, if you're let nature reclaim that crop in the field that it was planted, totally fine. If your combine's a little janky and flicks out a little bit more corn during the harvest process, you can't help that. We don't expect everybody to have brand spanking new perfect equipment that crops it all just perfect without throwing a little spillage out there. And then when somebody's filling up a green truck, everybody likes to point out the fact that there's spillage alongside the road or wherever they're filling up a truck. All right, well, that happens. Yeah. But to put up a stand right over it, well, you've just created yourself a bait pile there. Yeah, so
exactly.
If you have some spillage near your stand, clean it up. Yep. All right. If you got a field that's harvested and nobody's really done anything out of the normal, and you see deer piling into it, have at it. That's just kind of something that we have in Wisconsin that we're never going to interfere with, and you can capitalize on if deer are moving to and from it. But once you manipulate that bait, especially in front of a stand or where you're hunting, that's kind of contrary to any kind of normal agricultural practice.
Yeah. So be safe and be fair out there, I think.
Yes, definitely be safe and be fair out there. Yeah. So be sporty, take it for what it is. We're not talking NASCAR. You don't need to cheat the win here at this sport. The only person you're cheating out when you're screwing around and breaking rules and regulations, especially baiting and feeding, is you're just cheating yourself. So put that asterisk by the buck that you got on the wall because he had to shoot it over a bunch of apples, corn, mineral, whatever have you. Try and do it right. So, but in the counties that you can bait and feed, I think the nearest one we got here is Taylor County. Have at it, but still in there, be mindful that it's still herd health related. And even in those counties, they might not have CWD, but I'm sure they've got plenty of other diseases that do affect deer and other populations that inevitably you're assisting in the spread of. Yeah. So, I can think of one thing that I know is spread pretty well, and it's something that we get too: pneumonia. I mean, in Jackson County, we've had a couple deer that have passed in the fall due to, or gotten super sick, inevitably had to be put down due to pneumonia. Oh, wow. So deer can get weird stuff like this. I think Buffalo County over by Prague, I want to say, Prague, they've got a good batch of EHD over there. Really? I can't say that technical term. It's something hemorrhagic disease. Blue tongue is a common term for it, but we got plenty of other diseases that can be spread from animal to animal and are highly contagious that concentrating feeding sites do fester these diseases. So
yeah, all great information, and it looks like we're running out of time. Any last words before we go? Anything else you want to cover?
Sorry, I get long-winded.
No,
especially on that bane of a topic right there. I mean, not much out there. I just want to pitch our tip line. So if you got any tips, any violations you do see, or concerns you may have out there, call the DNR tip line at 1-800-TIP-WDNR. That's 1-800-847-9367. Or if you got your local game warden's number, give us a holler as well. And if I can leave anybody out there with a lasting message out there, just everybody enjoy the season. It's some sweet opportunities we have coming up. Get out there, hit up this early trout season before the pickers and the bugs get you. And this turkey season looks like it's going to be off to a nice start with all the birds moving out in the fields. And enjoy it. Have a good time, and good luck out there.
Yeah, exactly. And you enjoy your day off. Hopefully you get out and get some fishing done today.
Yeah, I'm going to try.
It's looking better for you.
See what I can. Got to get my taxes done first. Yay, taxes.
Well, there you go. You got to love that. We've been speaking with Brian Lowery from the DNR. We're going to go ahead and jump right back into the hits here on Coffee with Brian.
WHTL.
Farming is evolving, and so are we. Learfield Ag continues to invest in the American